All right, so thank you very much, everyone, for joining us, whether you're live or you're going to be watching this in the future. This is our UW-Madison Online Undergraduate Degree Student Panel. So we are lucky enough to be joined by 3 of our current students right now. And we are just going to talk about basically what the student experience is in our online undergrad programs. So before we get going, please go ahead and if you're participating live, if you can mute yourself, that would be great, just to make sure that there's no kind of errant noise that comes through and interrupts someone when they're talking. But feel free to put any questions that you may have in the chat, and we'd be happy to throw them out to our panelists. Before we get going as well, let me introduce myself. I'm Zach Benson. I am an enrollment coach for the online undergrad programs. What that means is I'm essentially like a pre-application advisor, here to make sure that people who are looking at our programs understand basically anything that they need to know whether or not the program is the right choice, both for their kind of lifestyle and career goals. So whether it's student experience, curriculum, what kind of job outcomes you can expect, how our programs compare to other online programs, that's what an enrollment coach is here to talk you through. So hopefully by having a conversation with us, you know for sure whether or not this is the right kind of path for your professional and academic goals. So let me have us go around. If I can go to Kyle, Joey, and Christy, if you all could introduce yourself, what program you're in, and how long you've been in the program, that'd be great.
All right, my name is Christy Jorgensen. I'm in the Personal Finance and Financial Planning program. Technically have been in it since summer 2021, but before that I was in the Badger Ready program for a year, and I'm hoping to graduate next May.
Hi there, I'm Kyle Turris. I'm in the School of Business, going for my business management degree, and I believe I got in, well, I started these online courses in 2020, and I started full-time in the fall of 2022.
Hey, I'm Joey Nagorski. I'm a marketing major at the School of Business, and I've been going to school online since 2020 as well. And I've been at the School of Business online, I think for 2 years, maybe a year and a half, but 2 years. So, and I plan to graduate in spring of 2025. I am not full-time. I'm doing 2 classes a semester.
Awesome, thank you guys. So I think we'll get right into it with some of the most asked questions about UW-Madison Online. Some people may have just heard that some people are going full-time, some people are going part-time. So a question that I think I get number one all the time is, what does it feel like to be in a class kind of week to week, and how many hours a week should I kind of think about allocating for my class time? So if we could go around, anyone who wants to answer, what would you say to anyone who says, what is it like to be in a class, what's a typical week like, and about how much time do you think you find you need to dedicate per class per week?
I think that's a tricky question because I think it varies class to class. And usually in my experience, the first week or 2 of the semester is a little bit overwhelming because you're trying to find your rhythm with the course and figure out exactly what you need to get done at what time. I guess I should backtrack. So for every class you take, it's asynchronous, which is very nice. I have 3 kids and my wife, and trying to fit it into the schedule with the family as well. It allows me freedom to do these kind of things whenever I need to get done. But every class has modules weekly that have deadlines throughout the week. So like most common would be on a Wednesday. So Monday at 12:01 a.m., the module for the week is released, and you're able to go through all the information. There's usually, a few hours worth of readings, few hours worth of lectures, depending on the course. And then Wednesday at midnight, discussion post is due. Friday at midnight, 1 or 2 responses to fellow classmates' discussion posts are due. Saturday, an assignment or homework throughout the week is due. And then sometimes Sunday, there's like a quiz that's due at midnight as well. And depending on how you structure your week, you try to have majority of the information read, or at least enough to post a discussion post on Wednesday, and then fill in the rest of your knowledge as the week goes on for the test on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree with Kyle. Their different classes are going to be laid out a little bit differently, but there is a discipline involved in not having to attend the class and having to get the work done and set aside time because you're at home or wherever you're going to work on your school stuff. So there are some classes that are just going to be like super intensive on reading and some of them are a little more lecture focused. I prefer the lecture, but some classes have both. But yeah, it can vary. There are days where you can, like I work full time. So when I get off work, there are days where you have 3 hours of homework that you need to get done, or reading or discussion or projects. There's more and more projects kind of come your way the further into the classes that you get. But it's manageable if you stick to like your weekly schedule. And like Kyle said, like a lot of the classes are laid out the same. They're all going to have like that discussion on Wednesday, responses by Friday, and then whether it's a project or a quiz or a homework assignment on the weekend. And the weekend kind of opens up some time to take care of that stuff rather than during the week. If you say you work Monday through Friday, or if you have other stuff that you're involved in. But each class is going to have its different share of like how intensive, how much of a workload there is. And in the beginning of that semester, you'll find it is a struggle until you figure out the rhythm. Like, just like Kyle said, like when you find that, then you understand, okay, on Tuesday nights, I need to be prepared for Wednesday because I have a discussion, and you plan your week accordingly. And then it goes fairly smooth. But you're not like going to the class. You're not going to there's nothing keeping you in track except yourself. So there is a level of discipline that you have to like maintain in order to make it through the weeks.
I'm Christy, I don't mean to cut you off if you have an answer, but I'm not sure if it'd be helpful if I just kind of laid out my day in terms of a regular day. But I have 3 kids. So in the mornings, I drop them off at school. I usually kind of run a couple errands. I come back about 10 o'clock, 10:30. And then I do. So this past semester, I was signed up for 15 credits, and the same with the one before in the fall. I'm signed up for 18 in the spring, 18 in the coming fall, and then 18 in the spring again. And kind of my routine is I get home at 10:30 a.m. I do schoolwork from about 10:30 until about 2:30. And then I go pick up the kids, bring them home, drive them to their activities. I coach their activities. And then we have dinner, put them down to bed around 7 to 8 o'clock, watch a show with my wife until 10. And then I usually do like another hour of schoolwork. So kind of in the range of anywhere from 3 to 5 hours to do like 15 to 18 credits a day. And then obviously there's some days where, I just have something scheduled where I can't, and I have to kind of make it up the rest of the week, or you're heavier on days before exams or whatnot. But kind of I'd average kind of somewhere between at least 3 to 4 hours, a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Did you want to say anything about that, Christy? I think it looked like you popped off and popped back on. Thank you.
No worries. Yeah, I agree with you both. It does vary based on class and then how many classes you take. But then also some classes are structured to where they're 8 weeks versus 16 weeks. And then you're basically condensing the entire semester's worth into half of a semester. So some days, it could be multiple hours of just trying to get things done. to make up for, days where you don't have availability to do it. But what I found is most helpful is just structure your day to wherever you have a free moment. Try to do at least one thing, whether it's do a discussion post or take a quiz or read a chapter. Just do it somewhere throughout your day so you're not trying to pile it off, into a few hours late at night when you're super tired.
Gotcha. Thank you. Yeah, I think on that note, if I could ask, I think a kind of a corollary question I get from a lot of prospective students to how much, time am I going to commit is, what do assessments in the program look like? So how am I going to be graded, right? Am I going to do like a proctored test? Am I going to be submitting a lot of papers? Am I going to be doing group work? Am I going to be doing a project that I turn in? Could anyone speak to how you feel about how you're being assessed in the program? And I guess to tie it back to the last question, whether or not if you're doing some sort of a project, does it affect, is it like a roller coaster, more time put in during like an assessment week, less time later? How do you kind of plan around if you're doing something that is a big part of your grade?
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to do any and all and beyond of the above. There's every kind of assessment imaginable in these classes. And it really depends on the class. If it's obviously an English-based course, you're going to do a lot of papers. Math-based course, you're going to do a lot of exams, things of that nature. But it really depends on the instructor too. I've had some instructors where they will pile on a normal week's worth of work on top of an exam in the same week. And that can be kind of stressful because you're both studying and doing homework. But most instructors seem to structure it where during exam week, it's literally just the exam.
Yeah, like Christy was saying, it's all the above that you mentioned. I mean, everybody that's taking the online stuff is pretty committed, right? So, I mean, your question, Zach, regarding group projects and doing more work or less. I mean, everybody's pretty involved because, I mean, you didn't want to do the work and get your degree, then you wouldn't be online taking the courses, right? So I wouldn't say it's that much more work. And then one aspect that's been really helpful, I mean, all the professors that I've come across anyways, for the most part, have been very helpful and genuinely looking to help you succeed. So, I mean, I've been out of school for, 15, 16 years, and getting back into like data analysis courses where you're you're doing regressions and, all these different calculations, can be a bit scary, but the professors often do like Zoom hours or like office hours available to go online with them and just ask any questions, and they'll make themselves available, once or twice a week for an hour, and anybody can join and ask questions. And I found it really helped me get through a lot of issues I've had. And yeah, so I mean, I definitely recommend hopping on that.
Absolutely. I piggyback on what Kyle's saying. I went to a university in Texas, and then I also went to like a technical school here in Milwaukee prior to the business school. And the experience with the business school professors is so different than everything else that I've ever, I also took like a 15, 16-year break from school, but they really want you to contact them. And, if you don't understand something, they're absolutely available. And that is not something that I was used to coming back into college. The technical school, it was hard to get a hold of a professor, but here, if you have any questions, they want you to reach out. They're going to like explain and take the time. And not to mention, the more if you're in the third, fourth semester, you start to recognize certain people in the same classes, and you can reach out to them. And you'll develop relationships with people virtually that you would typically in the classroom setting, but you've had to interact through all the other like discussions, which really just encourages us to interact. And it does have a classroom feel to know that everybody else is going through the same thing you are. You can ask questions. A lot of the classes will have an open-ended discussion forum where you can just ask questions to the group if you're confused or you want help with something or clarity. So there is a way to communicate. You're not necessarily on an island, but you are able to work at your own pace throughout the week, as long as you hit the deadlines that you're given.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I think that's a natural segue. You both kind of just touched on it, but to a next question. I see that we also have a question in the chat from our participant, excuse me. So let me do the really quick segue question, and then we'll get right back to the question in the chat here. And that question is just, how do you guys feel you connect with professors? How often? And you mentioned they're very available and willing to answer questions, but what does it look like? Do you talk through Canvas or Teams? Does it change professor to professor? And can you just speak a little bit more about, the kind of conversations and resources and, I guess, access to professors that you've experienced in the program?
Yeah, I've reached out to professors on even LinkedIn. Like they're very available. They list everything that, the best way to get a hold of them, your syllabus. As soon as you start a semester, they're going to tell you, like, contact me on Teams or email me. Some of them have their phone, their office phone. They're very, very available. And I think it's because they also understand that the online platform is not something that we're all that used to yet, but it's really getting, it's becoming something that we're mastering. And so they want to have that relationship with us, and even the online students, and they stress that. So I typically will meet with them on Zoom or Teams. A lot of times, some of the professors do live lectures, which are pretty rad if you're able to, attend those at a certain time, because you're talking, it's just like this. So you're talking in real time, you can ask questions, and those are also recorded, so you don't have to attend them on time, but then you can watch them later. So there is a way to be in touch with all the professors at any time. And just in the professors in general, the quality of professors at this school is pretty unbelievable. You're learning when you're attending here.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. The professors, so I'm not sure, I don't know, but I feel like more of the online is older students. And I feel like the professors are aware of that. And so the professors are, like, I remember talking on Zoom to my data analytics professor, Professor Crab, about and he said he thoroughly enjoyed this more because it was the students were older and more experienced, more thought pronounced, and so it created a more fun learning environment, because he appreciated that and we appreciated his more kind of hands-on help. And but I mean, the relationship with the professor has been very helpful kind of over my semesters here.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And actually, this is a crazy great segue into the question that we have in the chat here, which is, to all panelists, do you find that the majority of your classmates are non-traditional and therefore seem to take coursework a little more seriously? My concern is getting paired with younger and not as committed classmates on assignments or projects, and that person not taking the initiative needed to complete their portion of the assignment. So I think you both just kind of spoke to that, but if we could add also, what is your experience with group projects in your classes? That would be great.
Yeah, like I said, mass majority of the people that I've been in classes with have all been older online. And I mean, in some of the, the hundreds of people courses, there's obviously younger kids too, but in the smaller classes, especially of late in the business school and whatnot, they're definitely older. And the only time that, I mean, I've been, multiple years now, and full-time the past year. And the only time I only had one project where somebody on these projects, I should say, first of all, the professors tend to put you with 4 to 5 people. So it's, if one person doesn't kind of hold up their end of the bargain, then it has minimal effect because everybody else kind of comes together. But I've only had it happen once, and I've had a lot of projects. But the only time it happened wasn't because the person was younger. It was actually an older person as well. But they had just like, unfortunately hit like a real chaotic time at work. And they had to commit more time to work than they had actually planned on doing. And they're struggling to get through the course as they're working because something came up that was needed a lot of attention at work. So that was the only time that it's happened. But even then, I mean, we kind of found a way to get through it, and it wasn't all that much more work for us. The professor stepped in and kind of helped out and eased the burden on everybody else.
Yeah, I can share to that as well. I think the caliber of students as well that are at this school, I've only had one instance as well throughout all the projects of someone that had basically ghosted me. And I reached out to the professor. They said, yeah, they've got a personal thing that's going on. Don't worry about it. Just let me know where you're at. Show what you've done in the, up till now. And then I got paired with somebody else and it was all good. But it was just a simple reach out. And all of the rest of the projects, I mean, everybody's really on point to where you make sure that you're going to have your stuff in because they're going to. That's it. It's expected. I know that it's all going to be in. And even like, because when you're collaborating, it can be a little bit weird. And I'm kind of one of those people that like, when you have to pair up, you're like, oh, it's not going to be my work. But the level of work that everyone else is turning in is also really good. And you'll be able to learn from your peers as well. I had a project, which kind of shows you the span of other students with another student. And she, I think, is the chief marketing officer or chief something of another company that's fairly well known. And she went back to school. And so it was, I was like, oh, there's other like professionals they have kids, they have jobs, they have all this other stuff to do, but they also have to set aside their 2 hours or whatever we need to do to get it done because we're all chasing the same goal. And it's not mail it in school where you just kind of do the work. You're going to have to absorb it. And, you're along the way, you'll learn to appreciate, the classes and the professors that are here at this school. And everybody else is going to do their part, and it forces you to do your part as well and do it up to a certain caliber. So I as someone that doesn't really love to get into a group project, I think doing it here at the School of Business in general has just changed my outlook on that. It motivates me as well, just because they're going to do their stuff and it's going to be well done as well.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. That's great to hear. So we have answered the question in the chat, and it looks like Manny has joined us. Manny, can I introduce you really quickly?
Yeah, sure thing. Manny Avila. I am. My expected graduation date would be May of 2024. I've been on the online program, I'm going to say 2.5 years, well, since it started. But I've been on and off a student since 2002. So this is it. We got to get it done.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate your time. I'm going to go ahead with the next question that we had prepared for the panelists here, which is there anything, it sounds like we have everyone has been to a few schools, it sounds like, or at least been working on a degree for 10 plus years or so. If you're talking to a student who's looking at UW Online and they had stopped out of a previous degree program and they're looking at starting in UW and finishing their degree through UW Online, is there anything you would tell them to do to prepare, their schedules, anything like that before they actually enroll in the program? I guess another way to say it might be if you could go back to the point in time right before you joined you enrolled in your first class, is there anything that you would want to tell that previous version of yourself?
Buy a planner. That's the, I'm more of a creative side. And so like organization, like I work well with people that are highly organized because that forces me to, and then we collaborate. So getting organized and having the discipline to get the job done is the key in this. The 8-week classes move fast. I've taken a 4-week class, and if you're in a 4-week like summer class, that's what you're doing for 4 weeks. It's every day, Monday through Friday, like a job. So it's a lot. So I would tell myself, get organized, get a planner, and then I probably would have still learned the hard way. But it's really just mapping out, especially if you have multiple courses. I only do 2 because I'm working all the time. So I'm creeping towards that degree, but I'm going to get there. It's just you need to know what you need to get done today and what's going to do tomorrow, and like even into the weekend, just so that what does your week look like? You plan that out, take a Sunday to plan that out. It'll help you out in the long run. Either way, you're going to learn fast that it's, just having a plan coming in. But in general, I find that the professors are so good that you will absorb the material. None of them are just like saying, read all this and then do the quiz, necessarily. They're your instructions at a high enough level where you're able to absorb it. So it makes those assessments a little easier.
I would also say, in my case, if I could go back and kind of see what triggered me to come back to finish my degree, to be completely honest, it was the beginning of the pandemic where I was overly productive at work. And so I found myself with all this time, and then I just decided, okay, I need to go back. I need to finish this degree. But then I would also say, before you just dive in and taking a heavy amount of classes, is ease in, right? Take one, see how you feel, see where you're at, and then what you used to be doing to kind of start studying when you were younger versus now you as an adult. So now you have more experience. Now you have, you're a little bit more organized and things like that. You have a different perspective on what you're about to embark in. And so, take one class, see how you feel. And then after that, just ride the wave, because every time that you take one of your courses, it's just one step closer to your degree and to opening more doors, and just stay motivated. Use the people around you to kind of remind you of what lies ahead. And I know it's very difficult in an online program to find people that your peers that will definitely help you push through. And I've been very lucky. Actually, Kyle, who's in the panel, create a little community as much as you can, and kind of rely on each other and see where that can take you in the future. I'm actually very excited that from the people that I've been able to connect, that hopefully I'll be graduating with them at the same time. So that's also a huge motivator for me. So people, take your time and then ride the wave, stay motivated.
Yeah, I agree with Joey and Manny. I think being organized is really important because these deadlines are every week. And then as Manny mentioned, easing into it, kind of starting with one class is a good way just to kind of get back into it. I mean, I'd been out for 15 or 16 years of not doing school. So just doing one class to kind of get back into it and get into a routine and kind of gain your confidence back a little bit, to be like, oh, you know what, like I can get into this. And then the last thing that I would add is it kind of goes to Manny talking about motivation, but you kind of have to want to do it. It's not something that you come back and you're like, oh, this is a pain in the butt. I don't want to be doing this, because kind of defeats the purpose. Like you're trying to achieve something, and I mean, everybody here is doing the work to achieve, and I mean, it's one thing just to get the work done, but you just won't get as much out of it, you know. And I mean, I'm lucky to be in a position that I am, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun, and because I have such a different perspective on it now as opposed to when I was, 18 going to school, just the genuine enjoyment I'm getting out of it. I don't see it as a chore to do, 3 or 4 hours a day of schoolwork. And I'm doing, and because of that, I can get through 15 or 18 credits in a semester and just achieve the goal that much faster. So I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand. If you want to do it, it won't be as difficult as you think it's going to be.
Awesome, yeah. Thank you for sharing. That's all really, really good insight. I think I'm going to go to a very quick question here. If you guys could remind us of the degree that you're working on, and what has been your favorite class so far? Were you surprised by what it was, or was it all kind of par for the course? Maybe you're a marketing major and you liked marketing, 101. But if you could share your degree and your favorite class so far, that would be great.
So the favorite class I've taken so far was with Manny, and it was with Professor Richard Crabb. It was that Data Analytics 206. And I'm in the School of Business, and I'm doing business management, and I'm hoping to graduate with Manny in the spring of 2024. And then just a second course so I like numbers, and I'm more math oriented. But I've never liked English all that much. And I just took an English course, English 458, with Professor Jovic Humphrey, that I went into thinking that it was going to be a chore and that I wasn't going to enjoy it and just get through it. And it's probably right up there with my other favorite course that I've taken. She put a philosophical spin onto the writing, and integrated kind of philosophical questions every week into the course. And it was just, I loved it. I thought it was really neat.
Yeah, I can echo Kyle. My favorite course was with Richard Crabb, the business analytics class as well. And I also am majoring in business management for May of 2024 with Kyle. But I would say, aside from just from that course, I think I've gained a lot from a few of the professors that I've had, Brittany Almeida, Dave Johnson before the online program when I took a sports finance class, most recently Moses with the sports marketing class, and currently actually Finance 300. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I work in finance. I'm a senior treasury analyst, so Finance 300 for me, it's been quite a bit of fun with Professor LaPlante.
Yeah, my favorite course was, I'm guessing Moses was Professor Altsek. My favorite course, he taught a consumer marketing class, which is, the science of why you buy and, the consumer mind. And so I really, really enjoyed that course. He's been my favorite professor at the School of Business. But to echo Kyle as well, the English courses that I've taken, which are 2 of them, I also went into them like, okay, this isn't my degree. You have to do it. You got to read some books. They've been like really awesome. Like I got a tattoo of one of the books that I read because of this course. So like you're going to find stuff that's not, it either makes you think or it'll like touch you in a certain way. And it's not the same stuff as high school. It's really planned out, and it's so much deeper into learning. And I did not expect to like the English classes at all, because I'm busy and I don't want to read books that, I have to. I want to read on my own time. but I thoroughly enjoyed, I think one was American Dreamers, and that was all American authors. And then another one was I think it was, I don't remember. They run together a bit, but don't overlook the English courses. They're way more fulfilling than I thought.
That's awesome to hear. And also, um, I think I want to be really respectful of everyone's time here. So I want to put one last question out there, which I know is a question I get from a lot of prospective students, and then we can sound off. But that before I do that, I do want to put out there for anyone who's joining us live, if you do have a question you'd like to put in the chat, feel free, so that we can get to it while we're working on our last kind of planned question here. But the question I have for everyone is, I get a lot of questions from prospective students about what sort of a relationship that they'll have with their advisors, and what role an advisor will play, both kind of in the academic advising side, but also in the kind of career prep side. So if you could speak to, what your experience has been with your advisor, how they help you pick classes, and if you're starting to work on some career prep, what that's been like.
I've worked with Leanne Johnson, and she's been a huge help. I've really appreciated it. She's she spends a ton of time researching courses, kind of asking me what my goals are, when to graduate, what do I want to graduate with, and formulating a plan to achieve it in the timeline that I would like, and setting up courses this summer with the anticipation of being able to take it spring of next year, because that's when it's available. So she's been a very big help, and I'm very thankful for her.
I'll echo that as well. I don't know if there are other online advisors, because I feel like everyone has Leanne. There may be, but I haven't met them. But she's been phenomenal. I have not had to do career coaching with her, because I've kind of landed in my career so far since I've been with her. But from an academic standpoint, I'm just busy, and I'm like, what do I take? What do I need to take? When is it available? And she's always ready. Typically right before a semester, like clockwork, I'm gonna hit her up and say, hey, what are we looking at? And I think I'm like planned out pretty well now. But at first, my experience with registering at other schools was awful, and you have to jump through hoops, and you didn't take this. And yeah, Ms. Johnson is on point. She knows what we need. She knows, like, me individually, what I'm gonna like and what I'm doing with professionally. And don't take off more than you can chew. And even this summer, I took off for the summer, and I've been going just spring, summer, fall. And I remember she told me that you have to respect burnout as well. And I could see it approaching, and I just didn't know what it was like to stop and take a break. And it's been great. Like, it's been great for me. It's going to prolong me a semester, but I needed to take a quick break, and I'm already, ready to hit it in the fall. So it's not like the break is going to really do too much harm for me. It really helped me out. Just kind of, also, summer in Milwaukee is the only nice weather we get, so I get to enjoy that a little bit. But she's great. The advising is top notch.
Awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. And I did see that another question came in. Sorry, I hadn't seen it right away. I confused it with the first one because it started kind of similarly. But the question for those who may be joining us asynchronously or looking at this recording online is, for anyone working full time, if I can summarize the question, working 60 hours a week, pretty demanding job, what would be the right number of credits for someone in my position? And we sounded off in the chat. It was suggested 2 classes is manageable working full time, and to take 1 course and then see what you're capable of after that, to kind of get your feet wet and understand what the time commitment is going to be. And also a great suggestion that the academic advisors will have a feel for which courses might be more demanding in terms of, I'm guessing, either time or just difficulty with the material, so they can really give you good recommendations for what you might need to take with more time in your week, and what maybe you don't need to dedicate as much time to. All right, well, I think we got through all of our questions here. It looks like we've addressed every question in the chat. Before we wrap up, I want to thank our panelists again. Thank you very much for giving us your time. We really, really appreciate it. Is there anything anyone would like to sound off on?
I would say go for it. I made the attempt a couple of times to come back, and now that I'm so close to finishing, it feels so good. And honestly, I feel like I have senioritis because, when you when you get that feeling of, oh, it's the summer, it's the last summer before you graduate. So I find myself going to the union and studying there instead of staying at home and doing that despite, having a very heavy load of work. And so it's very odd that, after so many years that I never thought that I would have that feeling of, oh, I need to go to the union to just hang out and study there. So I've been doing that. But definitely take advantage of advising, ask questions, connect with anybody that will help you, and hopefully this helps you.
Absolutely. The most rewarding decision I've ever made is finding out that this online program existed and then going for it. There were other schools that I was looking at, but I wanted the best available in my area. And it's lived up beyond anything that I've experienced with like anything collegiate before. So it's, if Madison offers something that you're interested in and you're ready, absolutely go for it. It's extremely rewarding, and I'm ready to say that I'm going to graduate next semester soon. So
that's awesome. Congratulations. Yeah.
I think like Manny said, like just by taking one course, starting with one, it feels good to accomplish, right? Like it feels good to, like, you finish the course, you got your 3 credits, and kind of that feeling, it just snowballs, right? Like you want to just keep going and keep chipping away, and eventually it gets to a point where you're there. So I'm a big Badger fan. Wisco is the best. Yeah, just very thankful I've had this opportunity.
Awesome. Well, I can tell you guys, I work mostly, with students who are prospective students of the program. And then there's a little bit of a handoff to Leanne, like you mentioned. So I don't always get to be in touch with people after they're in the program. I know a few students that I've been in touch with, and it just feels really good to hear you guys' your experience in the program and your background, because I get to know some people, and then you can forget sometimes, what it brings to people when they're in the program and they're getting ready to graduate, and everything that you talked about years before is coming to fruition, which it sounds like it is for all of you. So thank you very much for sharing your insight and taking the time today. Everyone have a fantastic day. And again, thank you to our panelists. You guys, we really appreciate it.